So we'll start working with the not null constraints as our first level constraints. It's a very simple constraint to really understand. Once you declare any particular column with a not null constraint, it automatically prohibits you not to take any null values at any point of time into that particular column. Now this constraint is always declared to the column, and this constraint should be declared only at column level, and not null constraints cannot be in combination of columns. Means they cannot be composite by nature. What is composite we will see, let us not worry about that. If we don't declare any constraint like not null, that column always by default internally will take the nulls. So internally the default constraint for every column is null constraint. One expected question, be very clear about that. To satisfy the rule, there is no other alternate way. You have to definitely give the value. So which columns are suitable for not null constraint? All those columns that are definitely expected to contain a value compulsorily. Means in a particular column I need to keep the value, and it is mandatory by nature. All such columns in real time are declared as what? Not nulls. So whenever you are dealing with your not null implementations, the first thing you should remember is one column can be declared with not null only once, and that particular constraint can be declared only at the column level. You cannot have at the table level. Now the fundamental syntax is this: you can directly declare the column name and the corresponding data type along with the width, and then keep the self with what? Not null. Now whenever you are declaring this not null, you watch, we are not giving any name. According to syntax this is acceptable, but according to the rule of the standards, means according to the quality standards, if you are expecting, this is not acceptable by the industry. Why? Because when we declare any constraint, whenever we are declaring any constraint, we expect the constraint to have a name. So whenever you are declaring the name of the constraint by yourself, you should always use the keyword called as what? Constraint keyword. Now a beginner will always have one kind of doubt that, sir, when my constraint is declared, if Oracle is implementing the constraint name automatically, then why I should declare the name of the constraint? If Oracle is allocating the name in your project, if you are having some 1000 tables, each table average is having suppose like 100 columns. Now Oracle is providing constraint name for everything. So how you know which name the Oracle has given you? So when you are going for maintenance, it will be a very big difficult issue. So to overcome the rule of the maintenance, it's always better that you give a constraint name by yourself. So whenever you want to give the name of a constraint, you will use the keyword called as what? Constraint clause, and then you will define the name of the constraint. Between not null, you should have one simple space. So for every column you can declare your not null constraint according to the requirement of the mandatory or optional state. If a column is optional state, by analysis don't declare not null, because optionality says that data may exist, may not exist. Only for mandatory columns will declare the not nulls. Now you just watch here, when you are creating a table, generally it goes like this. I am saying create table students. Now we are saying student as a student number, and then if you can just concentrate on the process, I am saying constraint name, and then I am saying not null. The same way we are giving student name, and then we are saying constraint name, and then we are saying not null. So whichever column you think that it should not contain any nulls, you can directly declare that particular column with what? Not null. Every column should have a not null is not a rule. You watch carefully. Here in this case, all these three columns are declared with constraints with name. Here I am not declaring with name. Oracle accepts that constraint by creating its own constraint name internally. If you are asking me on qualitative standards, I don't encourage that last declaration. Only for classroom sake I am trying to show you that. Now whenever we pick up an example, I don't want to pick up an example like student or faculty like things. We'll take very generic example, and you understand the concept, what I am discussing. In your project, wherever that concept comes, your table name, your column names will change. Try to recognize this. Before I go to my unique constraint, now you need to be very clear in getting through the process now. So just watch here. Create table. I'm saying sample NN01. Now in the place of this table, according to your project, anything can come. Therefore, I don't want to make specific examples in constraints chapter. If we take specific examples, your mind fits into that table only, it cannot think generically. Now I am saying that in this table I am having a column samp ID, number of 2. Now I am saying constraint. No two constraints can have the same name. So in real time we avoid that problem by taking the constraint name as table name underscore column name underscore NN. This is not compulsory, but we keep that abbreviation to understand this name belongs to a not null constraint. And then we will try to say not null. So because of this naming convention, definitely we can promise that no two constraints will have duplication. So why? Within one user, can two tables have the same name? No. Within one table, can you have two column names to be same now? No. Therefore, never this combination will have a duplication. That's how we are promising. Therefore, these kind of things are called as naming conventions. So every industry will tell you the naming conventions according to their style. You have to follow that. One of the universal methods is like this. Now I am having my next column that is nothing but samp name, and I am just trying to say varchar2 of 15, and then I am just trying to say constraint. Once again I want to declare the name of the constraint, table name underscore the column name underscore, I'm saying NN, not null. Then I'm going with my third column, samp date, I'm saying date. Now my date is not having any constraint. So every column should have a constraint is not a rule. So whichever column you think that it is optional by nature in your project, that column you can avoid the constraint. So once your table is created, now you watch, I'm describing my table and it shows me not null there. So I think all these days, why not null came into this column, now I think it's clear to you. So not null is the only constraint that can be seen through describe, which tells you in which columns you should definitely keep the values. So what do you mean? You watch carefully. Now I am testing my constraint now. I am saying insert into this table name, and I am just trying to say values. I am giving 1 comma sample 01 comma sysdate. Now am I violating anywhere any of my constraints? Am I violating any constraints? No. So data is accepted. But you just watch carefully. I am inserting my next value. I am saying null. Now actually this column can accept nulls or it cannot accept nulls. Cannot accept nulls because we declared what? Not null constraint. So watch carefully how your Oracle reacts to this now. It immediately gives you an error by saying minus 1400 cannot insert null. So today we are giving this table fundamental intelligence that in this column called as samp ID, at any point of time it cannot accept the nulls. So are we not making that column become mandatory by nature now? The same way, you just watch once again. Here I am giving the value as 2. Now here I am giving the value as null. Now this column is also fixed with not null constraint or not? Yes. You are violating any constraint. The message when you are violating that constraint is always same. Throughout your Oracle products it will be same. Minus 1400 once again cannot insert null into table name column dot username dot table name dot column name. That's how it will tell you where you are violating the rule of the constraint. So not null constraint is cross verified by each column independently. So once you declare a not null constraint, you cannot expect your data to be taken as nulls at any point of time. Now, one of the questions what the student has is, so if I give both the columns as null, what happens? You violate 10 constraints or you violate one constraint, it will give you always only one message, the priority of what it thinks it's in the highest exception. If you don't get two messages now, it is always going to take the construct very properly by the rule of the priority what it has. So only one time it's saying cannot insert null, and wherever it finds that priority to be the first. Therefore, if I am violating two columns with not null, don't think that 2 times the message will come. It never happens like that. Are you catching the point now? But one thing is clear, without giving correct data, your data can never go to the table now. So constraints are promising that our data definitely reaches the table only when it is what? As per the rule of the constraints. So this is 2, and you watch carefully. I am saying this is sample 02, and I am making this as null. Now on the third column, did we declare any not null constraint? No. So accepted. So we are just pushing the rule very properly such that your table can understand what is technically happening through the process. So we can definitely promise that these 2 columns never they will get ready for accepting what now? Nulls. So I think your whole table is well known to you, man. If I'm adding some extra lines like this, these extra lines are a problem for you, that is your mistake. So for a student who has never been concentrating, when we are creating tables long back, like this. For that student, when it is becoming entity, it will take time for him. Therefore, I said you don't need to have any kind of pending work now. My job becomes easy only because of this. And these 2 constraints are definitely at which level? Column level. You cannot have a constraint of not null at table level. So what do you mean? Watch carefully. This is my 2. I kept a comma here. Table level constraint should always be declared only after all the columns are completed. Now I am saying this is 2, this is 2. I am dealing with the not null, and this should belong to which column? I am saying sample name. This is one table level declaration I am doing for sake of which constraint? Not null constraint. Not null constraints are never accepted for table level declarations. So not null should be declared only at which level? Column level. Always keep that in mind. Only inline. You can't go with out of line style. That's your not null constraint. The next constraint we have is unique. Now if you do not understand unique within the time what I am speaking, it will keep you into trouble with primary key. Because some limitations of the unique are simple extension with primary key. There is some inconvenience in the logical management of the unique, not physical management. In logical management of the unique, there is some problem. To overcome that logical management of the unique, we need a primary key. So primary key makes just unique management easier, that's all. So unique constraint means whenever we say a particular column is managing unique data, by common sense we will say it is key column. So key is a very general term. Key is a very general term. Key means it's a column with concentration for some requirement in the business. So when I say unique column, unique columns also can be called as key columns. Why? Because these columns participate in your search criteria for searching the data very quickly. For single record searches can be done. Therefore, when somebody is using the key, take it as a general term. Take it as a general term that he is making you concentrate on that column for some serious business requirement. So a unique can be a declaration on single column. A unique can be a declaration of combination of columns also. So when you are going with combination of columns as uniqueness, we call it as composite uniqueness. You have to definitely understand what is composite uniqueness when I am executing my practical state. Any problem with unique in implementation, either single column or it is composite, will keep you into trouble with primary key later on. I am warning you almost every minute now. There were people who have trouble with primary key. The trouble is not in primary key, the trouble is because you are not catching the rule of the unique properly. Whenever you need to declare a unique on multiple columns together at a time, we call that as composite uniqueness. Composite unique should always be declared only at the table level. So not only unique as composite, anytime any constraint is declared as a composite state, that constraint declaration in composite state should go to table level. So to satisfy the unique constraint, what we should do? Give only non-repeated data. In that column, at any point of time, duplicate values can never exist. So unique, whenever it is implemented on a single column, means when you declare a unique on single column, you can have nulls within that particular column. Therefore, always remember, unique is not rejecting any nulls. Sir, I don't want nulls in the unique column. Declare not null separately. You cannot declare only unique constraint and say it is taking nulls. It will take. So unique never rejects any nulls. Be very clear about that. Once one unique constraint is created on any column, Oracle creates one index automatically internally on that column that contains uniqueness. So within one table, we can have any number of unique declarations. But where the confusion starts, when you take your restrictions, the first statement will give us confusion. A table or view can have only one unique key column. Many times students will misunderstand that is, one table or view can have only one unique constraint. He never said constraint, he said column. Be very careful. Therefore, what he is trying to say by concept you should understand. In one table we can declare multiple number of unique constraints. But for any table, there should be one identified key status. Because the column will dictate the information in that table is unique or not. So whichever column is confirming the uniqueness of the information, that becomes a key column. The remaining columns will become what I said. If they are having uniqueness, they become alternate keys. If they are not having uniqueness, they become what now? They become what? Non-key columns. So try to understand these differences very carefully. Therefore, don't ever try to misunderstand the process of your documentation without keeping yourself properly onto the overall issues. In the next 2 minutes, you have to definitely concentrate to understand certain things now. Watch here, I am having table 01. In this table 01, I am having column 01, column 02, we are having column 03, column 04. Instead of saying table 01, I will say table A. Okay? Now in this table, I am having how many columns now? 4 columns. I will just make my table with a bigger font so that we can differentiate. Now in these 4 columns, I can analyze and I can confirm which column should contain unique data. Now let us assume that by analysis I came to one conclusion that the column 01 contains unique data. In this particular table, totally how many columns are there? 4. How many are unique columns? 1. So we don't have any controversy here. We can directly say column 1 is a key column. Are you getting me? I can directly say column 1 is a key column. Why? I don't have any controversy with other columns. Then column 2, 3 and 4 are which columns? Non-key columns. Don't say alternate key columns. Non-key. Non-key column means it's neither unique nor primary key nor foreign key. Such columns are called as what? Non-keys. Now, let us work with another table. This is table B. In this, once again, I am having 4 columns now. Now, I said that after my analysis, I came to one conclusion that column 1 is a unique column. And I also came to conclusion that column 3 is also unique by nature. In this table, how many columns are there? 4 columns. How many unique columns are there? 2 columns now. How many non-key columns are there? 2 columns. Now, how many key columns are there? That's wrong. Okay? 2 unique columns are there, but saying 2 key columns are there is wrong now. So, you should say that there should be only 1 key column now. Which one is the key column? Which one is the key column now? Which one you analyze that it is important for key status. Therefore, don't come to conclusion that first column is key, next column is alternate key. Nothing like that. So, key column is in the hands of human analyst. Therefore, try to understand very carefully, one table should have one unique key column is different from somebody understanding that as one table should have only one unique column. Great difference will come. One table can have any number of unique columns. In that, one can be identified as what? Key. Once one column becomes a key, then other becomes automatically what? Alternate key. So, by analysis, I came to one conclusion that this is the key. I am confirming that this is the key by analysis. Then automatically this becomes what? Alternate key. That's how it is all depending on whom? Analyst. Therefore, don't try to misunderstand the statement. I said very clearly unique key columns. In every batch, I will have one student who will come and say, sir, you are saying that one table can have only one unique key column, but I created multiple unique constraints. Now, you yourself is speaking in a wrong way. Now, why I should correct you? So, one table can have any number of unique columns, but in that, if one is confirmed as key, the other is not the key. The other is what? Alternate key. Are you catching the point now? So, just catch the things very carefully. Now, In this table, how many uniques are there? 1. So how many indexes are created? 1. The moment you create one unique constraint, you like or you do not like, one index will be created. In this table, how many uniques are there? 2. How many keys? 1. So how many indexes? 2. So according to key, it will not create index. According to uniqueness, it creates. Therefore, for every unique column, one index will be there. Therefore, if anybody says that unique key column has index, how it knows which is a key? Because we declare only uniqueness. We don't declare any key separately. Key is a generic term, man. First understand. Therefore, if anybody says that unique key constraint, wrong. Unique constraint. Therefore, don't misuse the terms. Okay, if anybody says that I declared unique key constraint, there is no unique key constraint. Only unique constraint is there. Unique key column can be there. Unique key column means column that has been finalized for key status becomes a unique key column. All this is confusing generally or not? To overcome this confusion, only primary key will come. Remember that, okay? So primary key is one criteria provided by Oracle in those days to see that confusion to uniqueness is eliminated. Now these two uniques are individual declarations or together? Individual. So this is called a single column unique constraint. These kind of constraints are called as what? Single column unique constraints. Now let us go with another table. Okay? Table C. Now here also I am having these columns now. Watch very carefully. I want this unique what I am keeping here. So this unique is for both the columns or only one column? Both the columns. This is called as composite key, CK. Okay? So we call this kind of constraint as composite unique constraint. How many unique constraints are there in this table? 1 or 2? 1. That unique constraint is working for how many columns? 2 columns. Together or individual? Together. Composite is together. Therefore, understand the concept very carefully. Declaration is not difficult. If a table is having a criteria of unique constraint by composite state, that doesn't mean that it should not have other uniques now. Individual unique can be there. Nobody can stop you from that. So now this table is having totally how many columns? 5. How many unique constraints are there? 2. Are you getting me? How many unique columns are there? 3. In that, 2 are in combination, not individual. So this behavior is different, this behavior is different. Be very, very clear about that. Therefore, your documentation, when you are reading it, it may not be all that visualization for you. So, unique constraints cannot be declared on any of these data types because these all data types are object oriented by nature. We can declare composite unique constraints, but the maximum number of columns in one composite unique constraint is the maximum of 32. 32 columns together can be one unique constraint in combination. One very fundamental blunder many students will do, please catch up. We will ask a casual question, in one table how many unique constraints can be declared? Okay, watch carefully. In one table we can declare how many unique constraints. Out of 10 students, 6 students will give an answer of 32. Don't ever say this. That's where I said listen to the questions carefully. And the student comes out and says, I gave everything correct, nobody is giving me job. You yourself think that you are correct, man. You should have your own job. Nobody will give you job. So you are misunderstanding the statement where understand. He asked you in one table how many number of unique constraints can be there. You should simply say, sir, as far as Oracle is concerned, there is no limitation to that. In this case, I will tell you one more aspect. You may find some wonderful interviewers in your life. Then that gentleman will say, are you sure? Then tell him, absolutely I am sure. Then he may just keep his face as if you are giving wrong answer. Don't worry. It shows that the interviewer doesn't know first what he is asking. Get clarity on that now. Okay? Why? Because there are certain interviews will tell you, I think it's 32. Then don't hesitate. So please check your question first of all. You asked me one table can contain how many unique constraints. I said any number. If you could have asked me one unique constraint can contain how many columns, I could have told you 32. His question is wrong there. So certain times your interview's question can be definitely wrong, man. So how it can happen? It happens because it's a human being. But he is sitting on that side and you are sitting on this side. So definitely you will always think that you are wrong. That's your problem. So there are many cases where there are certain interviewers who generally ask this question in a wrong way. Why? Because first round interviews are conducted by technical HRs. We call them as technical HR. These technical HRs don't have total technology as an idea. So they generally have fundamental idea on the technology and they will be conducting interviews. So technical HRs can go with these kind of wrong things. Be careful. Therefore, when it comes to composite 32 columns in combination, are you catching me? When it is individual declaration of constraints, if my table has 100 columns, 100 uniques can be there. Each column, one unique can be there. So be careful. Are you catching the point now? Now, if 32 columns together they became one unique constraint, I am having, suppose say like 40 columns now. In that table, how many more uniques are left over? 8 uniques are left over. So that is simple mathematics now. So in such a table, 32 columns are already together with one uniqueness and remaining 8 only can go for what? Individual uniqueness. Now, in this case, you cannot say 40 unique constraints can be there. Are you catching the point now? So try to understand these cases very carefully. If suppose like remaining 8 columns together, they are another unique constraint now. Do you have any extra constraint that can be declared? No. No. Generalize the process very carefully. Don't go by your fundamental documentation as this. That's what I say. It's a constructive practicality that you should understand here. You cannot take it by your books and go as it is. Same column or combination of columns cannot be together primary key and unique at the same time. So, a particular column, if it is unique by nature, to the same column by combination, you cannot make it primary. Any one of the two things. We cannot specify unique when creating the inheritance hierarchies. On subtables, you cannot have any uniqueness. Only root tables can have the uniqueness. Parental applications can have uniqueness, not the childs. Childs are always inherited compositions. Very, very clear about that. So, constraint by declaration is not difficult. When you just want, we are saying column name with unique. So this column cannot contain duplicated data. Now you are having your constraint name with uniqueness. This is a most better way of declaration. Even though this is accepted by syntax, it's not good by quality. So when you deal with any table, it all depends on the analysis. Which column should contain unique, how you can by heart from the class and go. Your project, your tables, your analysis. So create table promotions and you are giving promotion ID as what? Unique. This is a column level declaration or table level declaration? Column level. In this table, how many columns are there? Now, 6 columns. How many uniques are there? 1. How many key columns can we confirm? 1. That single column is a key because that's not having any conflict. Are you catching the point? When conflict is not there, key is clear. When multiple uniques are coming, key will be confusion. To overcome that, primary key is essential. The same constraint you can just watch, you can declare with table level. When you declare with the table level, the most important thing you should remember is that column name on which you are declaring the constraint should become a parameter here. So when you are declaring your column, when you are declaring your table level syntax, after the last column we have a comma separator. So table level constraints are only for convenience. Now there are cases I have seen people discussing table level is better, column level is not better. Nowhere Oracle document says this. Finally, constraint should work, man. You declare the constraint at table level or column level, it will work. The only thing what we suggest is, if a constraint should be declared only at column level, then there is no table level for that purpose now. If a constraint can be declared either at table level or at column level, better prefer the table level. So why? In maintenance it becomes easy. For maintenance purpose it's easy. Therefore generally a professional declares major constraints at which level? Table level other than the not null. So it all depends on the way you are adapting. You can just watch here. This is one table what we are creating and we are declaring a constraint with a name, and here you can just watch this unique. Unique for how many columns? Unique for how many columns? 2 columns. Unique for 2 columns. So how many unique constraints I am having here? 1. But this unique constraint is maintaining how many columns? 2. So this is called as which kind of unique constraint? Composite unique constraint. Because it is composite unique constraint, it should be at table level. Are you catching the point now? Composite unique constraint, when I am testing, you should be very carefully concentrating. Now, the next 10 to 15 minutes of the time, you are seriously concentrating to understand Unique's behavior. Now I am not mixing up multiple constraints. Each constraint individually we will discuss, and while I am ending my constraints chapter, I will show you the whole declaration how they look like. Okay, so that's how we generally try to take the criteria of the name, and here I am saying unique. So this is column level syntax, or I will say okay, then I am going to stamp name. Then we are saying stamp date closed. A very simple table to understand. Now the table is created. Now you watch carefully. You cannot find unique in your output of the description. The unique you can never know it is there unless and then you do not know the metadata. Now you watch carefully. I am saying insert into. We are calling this values 1 comma sample 01 comma sysdate. Do we have any data previously? No. So definitely it is accepted. Now we are going with the process for second record. I am changing this record now. With sample name is changing, but sample ID is not changing. Now, do I have this value already or no? Yes. So that column is declared with which constraint? Unique constraint. Immediately you watch the behavior of Oracle. -1 unique constraint violated. These are all standard exception numbers in Oracle. By the time you complete your SQL, if you are keeping experience in your resume, average 50 to 100 very regular exception numbers should be at the tip of your tongue. We will definitely catch you with certain exception numbers. Casually, interview will ask you, well, what is -20 to 92 error in Oracle? You should say. So you cannot by heart. Therefore, many times I told you, whenever you get an error, you only should correct it, so that you can remember those error numbers and all those things. I don't know how many you are remembering. It's your time now. Please start. So you can just watch here. Whenever we are trying to work with this, I set 2, it accepts. So the job of the unique is to see that duplicated values are not coming into that particular column or combination of columns. Now once again I just wanted to cross check. I am saying null. Did we keep any not null constraint on this? No. So accepted or rejected? Accepted. So technically if you just concentrate, in the column called as unique, nulls can be there until we don't declare not null. If anybody says that, sir, my column is not accepting nulls, means there is not null somewhere, go and watch. You cannot, see, without having a rule, no data will be rejected. There is some rule, therefore it is rejected. You don't know the rule, that's your problem. Now, let us watch once again. I am inserting the data once again by saying 4. By taking my sample ID column with what now? Null. That column is already declared with, tell me, uniqueness. Now to the column that is having uniqueness, I am sending null once again, where previously one null is already there or no? Yes or no? So accepted or rejected now? So whenever you deal with your nulls, watch carefully, unique never stops you with multiple nulls. Now here I find people generally giving one small definition that nulls are unique. How do you know? Null is absence of data. When there is no data, how do you know it is unique or it is not unique? So why unique constraints cannot be used as real-time key columns? Try to understand. Unique can never satisfy which constraint? Entity integrity. Therefore, with uniqueness we cannot satisfy entity integrity. Why? Because unique never rejects the nulls. When multiple nulls are coming, how do you know which is a unique data there? To overcome these confusions only we have a primary key. Understand that. Therefore, unique has no ability to recognize the nulls. So under one single unique column, you can have any number of nulls. You can have any number of nulls. It accepts. Is the point clear to you? So try to catch up these concepts very carefully. Now, this is which kind of syntax, man? Tell me, column level. Now you just watch the same thing just for your convenience. I am just shifting that to table level. When you're declaring any constraint at table level, you should always go with one comma after the last column, and then we will say unique, and then use the column name. This is table level or out of line style. Now many times I have seen students saying that column level works better, table level works not better. Nothing, man. Finally the rule has to be occupied. So declaring a constraint at column level or table level is only a convenience. All the remaining tests you can do as it is. I am not testing it once again. So either at table level or column level, finally the constraint should work. Now, in this table, whenever we are creating, we are having how many unique constraints? One. Now, one table can have any number of unique constraints. Where one of the unique constraint I am keeping where column level, the another unique constraint I am trying to keep it at table level, let us say. But how to apply that? You just watch carefully. I am adding one column now. Okay? SAM ID table. So I am just keeping that column there. So we can have one constraint at column level, the other one at which level? Table level. So it's your convenience, that's all. Are you catching the point now? So you by heart these examples, no wonders will happen in your life. You should only catch the concept and keep it in your mind. Once you enter into your project, you should get the clarity of how to work with your applications. So one table can have one constraint or multiple constraints now. Tell me now. Multiple constraints. All constraints should be at the same level or they can be different levels now. Different levels according to your construct of analysis and convenience. So, which particular constraint will come in which way? It's all absolutely ridiculous. Don't ever by heart anywhere the rule of the syntaxes. So in this table totally how many uniques are there? 2 uniques are there. Individual or together? Individual. Which is a key? Which is a key? We can't say. That's a conflict. Are you catching me? If I am saying that SAMP ID is key, because I am your trainer, you should accept it. That's all. If it's a real-time professional meeting, then we'll definitely ask that guy, how did you confirm that as a key? We can ask the senior. Now you don't ask the senior, that's your problem. Generally, especially we Indians have one kind of idea, we are brought up in a fear. From childhood that will be there. So majority of the times I have seen people after they get into professional life also, they fear to ask the senior, ye mera job nikal dega. If you don't ask, definitely you lose your job only. Why? Because if your senior has done any particular analysis on this and if confirmed that as a key and you did not understand the situation, when you're writing your logic goes wrong, finally he will keep complaining on you only. Therefore, confirm it. So, he has to explain that analysis to you. Why he confirmed that as a key when this column is also looking suitable for what? Key status. To overcome all these confusions, your next level designer will make one as a primary key and you just keep the next as a unique and continue. Are you catching the point now? So, here each column individually will test the unique or together. Individually. Unique will be tested individually here, not together. Now let us go to the composite state. I am saying 04 . So you just watch at the end, I am saying constraint name, sample ID, name, composite unique. And I am saying unique with sample ID, comma, sample name. So this is called as composite unique constraint. Hence it is at which level? Table level. In this table, how many unique constraints are there? Come on now. 1. Having how many columns for that? 2. Together or individual? Together. So here unique is together to these 2 columns. Here the constraint works in a mutually exclusive manner. What is mutually exclusive? Try to understand. Okay, now when I am testing, you have to understand this composite definitely. If you don't catch composite testing here, it troubles you in the next levels. Second, we will come to clarity why unique is not suitable for the rule of the key status now more seriously. Now come. I am saying insert into the table name values 1 comma sample 01 sysdate. This is the first record. Do we have any confusions? No. My data went into my table very properly. Now watch carefully, I am inserting my second record. SAMP ID is repeating, SAMP name is not repeating. Now these 2 columns together they are what? Unique. These columns together they are considered as what? Unique. Now whenever you are dealing with the process, because these 2 columns together they are unique by nature, now I am declaring my data in such a way that these 2 columns are technically getting, this value is getting duplicated where this is unique by nature. As per the rule of unique, this is accepted or rejected. Accepted or rejected. That's where the difference comes now. Okay, for students who are saying rejected, they may have their own criteria, and who are saying accepted, they may have their own criteria. You cannot catch up without reasons now. Watch carefully, it gets accepted. Now that's where the first level confusion starts. In every batch we'll have 1 student or 2 students will come and say, sir, I declared unique constraint but duplicate values are good. Then we'll say, no man, it cannot happen. No sir, in my computer it is happening. Now your computer may be having a separate kind of Oracle, not exactly what world is using. That's a very clear proof that gentleman did not attend today's class. After 2-3 times also we'll be discussing the same thing. Then we'll say, who told you to be absent in the class? Then this guy gets confused. So whenever you are trying to work with the process, try to understand one thing. Here, whenever this uniqueness in composite is declared, always recognize one thing. If 1 column is repeating with the data, the other column in combination, if it is unique by nature, it is accepted. That's where I said it's mutually exclusive. So when composites are declared, you should always remember 1 column is unique with respect to the other. Therefore, it is always working in combinations. It's always working in combinations. If you look directly into this table, what will be your analysis then? Sample ID is repeating. Therefore, people who see the data directly, they cannot know internally what rule is there. That's how many times you find people complaining, in my table much lot of data is duplicated. It's not duplicated because table is created with what? Combination. So in combination, is it duplicated? No. Try to understand that concept very carefully, else it will keep you into the trouble. The same way, you just watch carefully. This one I am giving as 2. Sample 02 is repeating, yes or no? But is it repeating with the same sample ID? No. So accepted. So when composites are declared, composites are always working for combination based uniqueness. You don't have idea on that combination based uniqueness. When you look into the data directly, you will feel that data is getting duplicated. So when it will reject when the data is coming with the same combination. This combination is already existing or not existing? Existing, rejected. So composite always works on combination, remember that. If 3 columns are in composite, out of 3 columns, if any one column has a unique status, the data will get accepted. Always keep yourself clear in this concept, no confusions. Now, coming to the testing of nulls now. I am giving null for the first time with the sample 03. I'll just change this. Did we have null previously using this kind of composition? No. So, technically whenever you are working in, null went into my table for the first time. Now, I am inserting the data by giving null here with sample 03. Unique can identify the nulls or it cannot identify the nulls. Cannot identify the nulls. Therefore, any number of nulls you give, it should take it. Now, exactly when we are doing this, what should happen now? Accepted or rejected? It should be accepted, because with respect to the null, unique has no idea. But be careful, it confuses you. So null's behavior on single column is different. Null's behavior on composite is different. When you have a composite constraint, you cannot give null to the same combination. Null cannot be given to the same combination. Be very clear. Now, you just watch carefully. Here I am giving my value as 3. And here I am giving my null. Do we have a null previously with this? No. Now I am putting my null with the same combination, rejected. So null behavior on single column is different, by combination is different. These all problems make unique not to be recognized as key status. With so many combinations of confusions, how you can do schema, it will confuse in your coding part. Now, I am giving my unique with null in both the columns. Do we have null with both the columns till now? No. Okay? Now I am putting my null once again. With both the columns, do I have null previously? Yes or no? Yes. So accepted or rejected? Rejected. Why? To the same combination we should not have the nulls. But be careful. So when nulls are coming with all the columns, it cannot treat it as combination. Until you do not test your unique, you will never know this. What is a unique constraint? Not only you, even a kid in KG class will tell. Okay? So don't talk about what is unique now. Do you have clarity on what is a unique constraint by implementation? After creating a table, how many times you are testing your table? This testing mechanism is very important. Until you do not test it, you will never get clarity. If you are clear with your uniqueness, then I think it's time to understand primary key. Tomorrow, primary key is just a small extension to unique, that's all. So it will complete very fast. And after we will start with the foreign key. So let us see what's waiting for tomorrow's session. Thank you very much.
So, 11 to 12 class అంటే వీళ్ళు శ్రీనివాస్ గారు షేర్ చేస్తారు వాటిని. సో ఇమీడియట్గా షేర్ చేయం, 1 or 2 days పడుతుంది. డేస్లో నేను ఒక 1 day డిఫరెన్స్లో షేర్ చేస్తాను, నెట్లో పెడతాను. అది ఆన్లైన్లో పెట్టే వాళ్ళకి అది లైవ్లో ఉంటుంది, మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా చూసుకోవచ్చు. ఆఫ్లైన్ వాళ్ళకి జనరల్గా షేర్ చేయాలి, ఇంటర్నెట్ షేర్ చేస్తారు. You get uploaded.